at the direction of County Council. I heard nobody. We will recommend for final approval on preliminary and final. Okay.
Great. Thank you so much.
Okay. Have a nice day now.
Oh, you too. Thanks.
Okay. Item C2, also on for preliminary and final. 490 Ranchito Vista Road. Is there somebody here for that? Anybody?
Yeah, Will is there. Will, you're muted.
Okay, it looks like you just got unmuted. Okay, item C2, hang on a second. Claire, do you have, okay, so to remind everybody, we had the architectural drawings last time, which we all thought were quite good. And we felt that the landscape drawings were either missing or deficient. Claire, have you had a chance to review these, please?
Yes, yes, I have. I mean, the set of drawings that we're looking, that Bill's scrolling through, these are the ones I've looked at.
Okay, and do you have any comments about that, please?
Well, for one thing, overall, on this set of drawings, there's not the FAR works, the thing that normally goes on the front page of the drawings, the first page. That's missing for me. You may not have done a lighting plan or wanted to do a lighting plan, and there is not one, and that's fine if you know, that was just a question. And I can't find any irrigation calculations like the WELO calcs and everything to do with the landscape drawing.
So Chris, are you the landscape architect on this?
I am, and there's the WELO calcs right there on that page.
What?
Right
that?
there.
Yeah.
You mean this little drawing here?
The calcs right that are being blown up right now. Yeah.
Where? Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, this is a completely different format that most people do, by the way.
But perfectly acceptable, right?
Yeah, yes. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so we've got the WELO taken care of. Is there anything else about these that you did or did not feel was complete?
No, at this point, no.
Okay, so from your point of view, landscape, you believe that these plans are acceptable?
Yes.
Okay, and Will, did you do an FAR study? Not a study, but a calc? It's usually on page 1 or something like that.
So Will, we can't hear you.
Yes, we discussed the FAR on our first 2 MBAR meetings. We're way below. It's a pretty big lot. We're only adding a very little to it. There should be a description of the square footage.
We asked for the county FAR to be inserted onto these drawings. Is that okay? You could do that, right?
Yes, you know, this is what I was afraid of. You know, we're really supposed to be only reviewing landscape. The house was reviewed on our last MBAR, and the only reason why we're here is because the landscape was missing from the sheets. Nobody mentioned anything about that, and I just don't want to delay this project anymore.
Well, can you let us discuss it? Claire, I'm ready to recommend to the full board for preliminary and final with the applicant to provide the FAR worksheet on the cover sheet. Would you accept that motion? I don't want to hold them up either.
Yeah, no, I don't want to hold them up either. I just and go, you know, I'm the one that here. Yeah, yes, I will. You know, and
Okay.
future,
We are on again for preliminary and final. County Council does require that we ask for public comment. Is there anybody attending this Zoom meeting that would like to address the board on item C2, 490 Ranchito Vista Road, please.
I don't have anyone, John. Thank you.
Very good. So we will recommend for preliminary final, for approval preliminary final with the applicant to provide the FAR calculation sheet on the cover page. Is that okay with everybody?
So I'm waiting for another 2 weeks to get.
No, you're done.
No,
Okay.
we're done. You just have to provide the information that John is asking for and get it to your planner so it can be
Okay.
applied to the final
When
plan.
the final set of plans gets stamped off, you're gonna have that on there.
Okay, thank you. I have no problem with that.
Okay, and Chris, you're good?
Yep.
Okay, very good. So we are done now with C2. Item C3.
Thank you.
Thank you, Will.
Thanks,
Thank you,
guys.
Chris. Okay, C3, 350 Woodley Road. Any, and we have minutes that say that the project is okay. And we have, my notes are that this project is, the drawings presented are great for preliminary, but fall short of what we asked for final. Is there anybody else that has comments about that? Claire?
Well, yes, I have comments that this is for me, they're here for final approval.
Right.
And this is not a complete set of drawings for me. There's no landscape drawings, nothing except a nice picture of what is existing on the site. So I can't give this final approval.
Nor can I. Is there anybody here to address the board? The name on is Stephen Diaz, but it might be someone else from William Hefner Studio.
Yeah, see, here's the landscape drawing that he just.
Is there anybody here for
That's
that,
it.
please?
I can't tell anything about it.
So Sharon, do you see anybody that might want to address the board on this?
I don't.
Okay, so Claire and I both agree that this is good for preliminary, which they've already received. So, but not good enough for final. So I would recommend for a continuance for 2 weeks for them to complete the drawings. Is that acceptable for you, Claire?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay, so that's what we'll do with that one. And we have 5 minutes. Thank you, Bill, for doing your excellent work. It looks like you're not in your office today.
I am not at my home office.
Yeah, well, my home is my office as well.
It looks like you're at the top of the mountain there, not.
I'm actually in France here.
Oh,
Yeah, no, he's got a background screen on.
I like,
Yeah.
I like,
Which is unfortunate that you can't see the bottom part of this because there is a very beautiful stone chapel covered in fog.
oh,
And I don't know why I don't get all of that in this photograph, but anyway,
need to reduce the image and move it up into the screen there, I guess.
maybe I will, but this is the first time I've ever put this
Back,
kind of beauty on.
yeah. Thanks.
So,
Right, normally we see his office in the background.
no, yeah, that's what you normally see.
Yeah,
I agree. I think this is prettier than my office, by the way. So just as a diversion, this is in France. It's up down around Toulouse, a little bit to the east of Toulouse. And the name of the town is Saint-Cirque-la-Popie. And I think it was in the 1400s. A 5-year-old during the French and British war about who owned France. And a 5-year-old was playing up behind the village in the hills as opposed to being down in the valley, which is where the British had always attacked the village before. Notice that there was a whole group of British guys coming up there, ran down, told his village mates, and they defeated the British. And so the Pope apparently actually gave this guy a sainthood for that.
The 5-year-old? The 5-year-old?
So it was, tears literally came to my eyes when I drove into this place. It was so beautiful.
Wow.
And I would recommend visiting it if you get a chance.
So this was a picture that you had taken yourself. That's your backdrop. This was-
I wouldn't put someone else's picture on Zoom if I didn't own the copyright. I like to steal, but I don't like to be caught at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'd love to see
But yeah, this is my photo. And I might say it was early in the morning, and I might say there was only two people that were also up here with me. Everybody else was asleep. Did you get everybody graduated last week or 2 weeks ago?
I
John,
did. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. I'm gonna go check and see if I ever heard back from Chris Schmuckel.
Thank you.
Okay, so give me a couple minutes, okay?
Can we start without you?
Yeah, start without me.
And is Kimberly here, please?
I am.
Okay, excellent.
Okay,
Thank you.
Tip on. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll have to step down on item 1, but other than that, I'm good.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Do we have quorum without you?
I don't know. Is Don?
Don, are you around?
I think we have a quorum. I think we do have a quorum with the 4 of us, I think.
Well, I have to step down on item 1, so
Yeah,
right now we only have 3.
we may have to continue that
We're-
item until Don gets here.
Is Chip coming?
Tip's here, I saw him a minute ago.
Tip's on.
Okay. So we've got Tip.
here.
Okay.
And Dave's out, and
Elida has personal business today.
Elida. Okay, so we're
Yeah, we're really short, and Dave Mendro's gone, so.
here. Oh, there we go.
Okay, there you go. So
Hey.
we've got 4. Okay, thank you, Don. It is now 1 o'clock. I would like to call where are we today? June 16th, 2022, Montecito Board of Architectural Review to order. The first item is public comment. Is there anybody that would like to address the board on any item not on our agenda today, please? Anybody?
I don't see anybody.
Okay, I will close that. Reconsider the circumstances of the COVID-19 state of emergency. I would like to stay virtual. It seems like COVID is raising its head. Is there anybody that would contradict that?
No,
No.
Okay, so I will move to continue all virtual meetings with the findings, Kimberly, that you have helped us with in the past. Is there a second to that motion?
I will
please?
second that.
Any discussion, please? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Agenda status report. Kimberly, do you know of anything?
No, I have not heard that there are any changes.
Yeah, and I think that I think Sharon would have told me. So we will assume there are no changes. Minutes, June 2nd. Does anybody have comments about the June 2nd minutes that Alex put together for us? Okay, I'd like to make a few suggestions, please. Item C2. Okay, so down in the action at the bottom, on the last line, absent to continue the project to the next agenda, period, provide fully developed plans.
Oh, not details? We were just after a detail.
All of it. We should get everything,
Yeah, okay.
okay? Which we did.
You saw
That
that.
actually happened today, but let's just keep the minutes clean. Item 3. Comment 5, confirm project is acceptable to fire department, and it was my comment and building department.
Correct.
And it had to do with the distance from the structure to the rear property line.
Oh, I
Okay. Item number 7. Comment number 2. Need WELO calculations for landscaped area. It's not just the lawn, it's the whole landscape banana. Please. And that's all the comments that I had. Is there anybody else that had anything?
No,
I will move.
Actually, that comment should be irrigation.
Okay, so let's go and see what it is. Let's see what it says.
Well, you said landscape, but the WELO applies to the whole irrigation plan, not just the landscape plan. See,
So what word would you, or
yeah,
words?
need WELO calculations for irrigation, period.
Okay, I'm good with that. I think that's actually better. Thank you, Claire. So I would move for approval of the June 2nd, 2022 minutes as amended. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
abstain,
I'm
abstain.
Tip abstains. He was not here.
as I do too. I abstain as well.
Okay, excellent. Do we have a quorum based on those two being out? 1, 2,
Agreed.
3. So Kimberly, what do? We don't have a quorum.
You mean
Let's go ahead and just continue it to the next agenda.
I will move to, and you will maintain those changes so we don't have to go over it again?
I will indeed.
I would move to, we don't have enough people, everybody is permitted to vote on this because we're not taking any action.
Correct. You're just
Okay, so-
continuing it.
All in favor, I'd like to withdraw that previous motion and move to continue the minutes of June 2nd to our next agenda.
I will second that.
Any discussion, please? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. Passed. Okay, Montecito consent agenda. Item C1 is on for preliminary and final. This was Tom Meany's project that was basically just replacing that one large window, enclosing the patio, one large window. Claire and I did review it last meeting, felt that the drawings were incomplete. Tom came back this time with complete drawings, and we would like to recommend preliminary and final. Is there any comment from the board about that, please? Since it is on for preliminary, County Council requires that we ask anybody, is anybody in attendance of this meeting like to address the board on item C1, 975 Lilac Drive, please?
John, no, there's somebody raising their hand though here.
Okay.
I don't know what it's for, but I'm gonna ask him to tell
Okay,
us.
excellent. Let's get that taken care of.
Can you unmute yourself and let us know why you're raising your hand?
Oh, did I raise my hand? I'm so sorry. I'm waiting for a particular case.
That's all right, thank you.
Which case?
I'm looking for this one, 007-161-003,
What address, please?
635 Orchard.
Oh,
Okay,
we're
so
not there yet.
I know that. Thank you.
yeah, stay tuned. We will ask for you then.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so is there anybody that would like to address the board on this item, please?
no, thank you, John.
Okay, seeing none, I close public comment. Is there a motion for preliminary final approval as submitted? I will move that. Is there, Claire, do you want to second that?
Yeah, I'll second that. Sorry, John.
Any further discussion, please? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, item C2, 490 Ranchito Vista Road. And that project came back to us. It was primarily an issue of landscaping, but Claire noticed that the FAR worksheet was missing. And we would like to recommend for preliminary and final approval with the applicant to provide the FAR worksheet on the cover page. Is there anybody that would like to discuss that? Since it is on for preliminary and final, County Council requires that we ask, is there anybody attending this Zoom conference that would like to address the board on item C2, 490 Ranchito Vista Road, please?
I don't have anyone, John. Thank you.
Okay, close public comment. I would like to move for approval of this project with the applicant to provide the FAR worksheet on the cover page. Is there a second, please?
I'll second that.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, thank you. Item C3 was on for final only. This is a project that William Hefner Studio brought at 350 Woodley Road. Both Claire and I felt that the project drawings were woefully inadequate for final. We thought that they were a nice set for preliminary, but not for final. And therefore, we recommend that we continue this item for 2 weeks with the applicant to provide a full set of architectural and landscape drawings. Is there a second to that, please?
I'll second that.
Since it is not on for preliminary, County Council does not require us to ask for public comment. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Members' informational briefing. Did anybody go anywhere or do anything, please?
No.
No,
No.
Did anybody have surgery?
we went places.
Yes, I did.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there you go.
Staff,
I listened to the Montecito Association board meeting, Zoom meeting yesterday.
okay.
I went to the Guggenheim in New York and enjoyed the Liechtenstein exhibit.
Have you been there before?
I had not. Every time I was there, it was closed for repair or installation or whatever. So it was very
And
nice.
on a scale of 1 to 10, the Guggenheim Museum is?
Well, do I have to consider the time it was built or?
No, today. Is it timeless?
Well, design-wise, yes. Functionally, lighting, probably a little less to be desired, I thought. I think
And the numeric summation, please?
you hate to gauge Wright's work, but maybe an 8.
Okay,
That's a solid number.
yeah.
It's a good
John,
start.
excuse me, can I ask this person who's joining us by telephone to tell me what they are here for?
And do you want to tell them how to unmute?
To the person who's phoning in, can you hit *6 to unmute yourself to let us know what project you're here for, or if you'd like to comment?
Yes, my name is Carl Cross. I'm with Studio William Hefner, and I'm observing the Woodley project.
And we have just continued that because we believe the drawings that you submitted are very good drawings for preliminary approval, but do not are not complete enough for final, both architectural and landscape. And we did continue that for 2 weeks for you guys
Thank
to
you.
pull it together, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else out there?
No, just a note, I will be stepping down on item 1.
Excellent, thank you. And staff update, Kimberly?
Nothing from me, but Bill, can you tell me which item are you stepping down on again?
Item 1, 23.
Item 1, thank you.
Yeah, the fire department.
And no update from staff.
Excellent. Okay, we are on to the main agenda. Item 1, Montecito Fire Protection District on Sycamore Canyon Road. Is there somebody here from Pacific Architects? Joaquin, I thought I saw you here. And Bill Wolf, please mute yourself and please turn your video off. Thank you. Okay. So,
We have enough quorum to without Bill.
yes,
Oh, okay.
yeah, Don Sharp is here.
Oh, when Dawn came. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm still counting.
Okay. So is there somebody here to present? I thought I saw Joaquin. Does he need to be promoted?
Mr. Chair, Brian Banks here. Joaquin, I think, is ready. We also have Chief Taylor and David Niels from Montecito Fire.
Okay, excellent. Who's going to be presenting this, Brian?
I'll take you through the overview, and then Joaquin will go through the architecture.
The floor is yours, Brian.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, Embar. Very straightforward project. You know, essentially, it's a carport at the rear of the property to provide some sun protection for the smaller fire apparatus. And then as part of that, we're reconfiguring some of the existing parking with the same total number of parking spaces remaining the same. So no loss of parking spaces. And then in addition, we've got a new entry gate and security fence, basically for security for the rear of the station. So new carport, new entry gate, and fence at the front.
Okay, these are the photos. Are you going to run us through those?
Sure,
Or
we can
is
take.
Joaquin?
I'll take you
to help as well.
I'll take you through, Mr. Chair. So you see, I'm sure everybody on the board is familiar with the Station 2. There's our view, images 7 and 8. So the existing parking area, and you can see the key photo keys there. So there's an existing ADA space that's going to remain. Not a lot of business happens at this station. A typical fire business would happen at the Station 1 headquarters building, but there is a small lobby area there, and there is an ADA space here that's going to remain. We're not changing that. The new entry gate would go approximately here. There are a couple of spaces here you'll see on the site plan that we're.
I don't see where you're.
Wait.
Oh, sorry, little delay there.
An entry gate, where are you, I don't know where you're pointing to. I mean.
Okay, I'll see. I got a little red thing on the photo 7, and then I'll put a little red thing on the site plan here. And it might take a second for that to come up.
Got it. We see it. We can see the red thing. Thank
So
you.
you'll see the 2 parking spaces there now. And like I say, we've accommodated those for the entry gate, for the vehicle gate, and then there's a pedestrian gate as well that Joaquin will take you through in the elevations. Really no landscaping. There's a small planter behind the carport. And then of course we'll have our dark sky fixtures that you'll see. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Joaquin. He can take you through the plans.
Copy. Yeah, I'm right here. John, thank you, Brian. Could you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Brian, thank you, Brian, for that. We have a exposed parking lot right now to Sycamore Road, which this plan here shows what Brian was showing in the gate and the pedestrian gate. But that whole area behind those gates, the pedestrian and vehicular gate, was completely open to Sycamore. So it provides the security and privacy that you need for that. They have hoses that they dry back there and a lot of other fire apparatus. But the carport in that, I guess that would be the southern portion of the property, is where the cover is being proposed to existing parking spaces, I might add. And Brian did mention that there is existing landscaping in the, you'll see when we get to the section, there's some retaining wall that just to the, on that side of the carport there. If we could proceed a little to the next ones here. Well, we also get the opportunity in providing this carport structure to provide solar panel system, which would be very beneficial to everybody. And so here you'll see that the future conduit layout and panels for that system. In addition, we're proposing the roof system would be that PVC system with the appropriate albedo or non-reflectivity color that will also be selected in this.
And Joaquin, you might add, if Bill wanted to zoom in, we've got the color specification of the membrane there.
Yes.
On that, if you zoom in there, they can see that. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. Yeah, that is important. We have the color selected right there. That's that gray color. This in the fact that this drawing is up here right now, and we'll see it in the elevations as well. It's a heavy timber construction you'll see in these the elevations, front elevations. What you could see in the back in that south elevation are the outlets for electric vehicles, or the plugins that are also being proposed right there in that south elevation along the wall there. The overall height of because it's got a pitch that slopes from the north to the south, the maximum height is 12 foot at the highest point, and you'll see that dimension right there that is being identified. And then we have those 3 columns that in order to facilitate those parking spaces with the vehicles that go there, there were a couple planting strips that were needed with bollards that needed to be removed to make these parking spaces accessible. But the lights that are being proposed are the required lighting that doesn't provide, can't see the light bulb and such, but it meets our Montecito requirements. We have details here, and here's a section that I was referring to on the bottom left-hand side that shows the retaining wall and the distance to the structure, and then some landscaping behind there. And that will all remain. None of that is being affected by this, the carport cover over that of the parking area.
So
And
does
we
that
have,
complete your
this is
conversation?
the
Oh,
next,
there's a gate. You want to go over the gate, please?
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Go explain the gate to us, please.
Correct. Yeah, so the gate, you'll see we have the pedestrian gate on the right-hand side that's being addressed right now. And we have a plate that goes across so that it provides the security. You can't reach in through the bars and open the gate from the other, reaching your hand in and opening it. So you'll see that plate is about that midsection of the door. And you see a little perforated metal screen detail below to kind of show. There's not a lot of detail that's Spanish on this to pick up from that as far as the iron part, but we did try to complement what we have in the overall existing building structure. And then the pilasters are also new. You could see in the top elevation there with light fixtures proposed. Very simple, as the structure is also architecturally speaking simple, but we complement what is being what we currently have there.
Does that complete your
I
presentation?
believe that's it. So this,
John, we've got the light. If we skip past these code sections, the last page, you'll see the lighting
yes.
plan. So we've got a dark sky crest line with the LED up under the hood, and then the other kind of pendant option there. I know they're kind of developed for conceptual, but we had to submit our substantial conformity determination and land use permit application. So we needed to get all of these items on the plans for that process.
That's right. Thank you, Brian. And those are you could see the pendant lights that are not going to be visible, that will be within the structure of the carport, but to provide some lighting for the carport. And there's a detail of how those pendant lights are attached to the cross members of the support structure for the carport. And then we just got some additional notes, but that's pretty much it. We do have, I'm here to answer any questions if anything comes, if you have any questions pertaining to this.
And Mr. Chair, I think I just add one more thing before we wrap up. We did do, in case that question is coming, we did do the calculation since the portion, the majority of the carport would be within the rear setback. We did do the calculations to confirm that it is no more than the 30% maximum coverage, and that's why we kept the height at 12 feet, since it's an accessory structure with less than 4 and 12 pitch. So I think we've got those zoning code requirements met here.
That's correct.
That is it.
Questions, Claire?
I have two questions. You mentioned in your presentation that you said future solar. So are you saying that you're not going to install the solar panels right away, or why the future?
We haven't figured out the loads and the required number of panels based on the loads and what circuits, but we wanted to have the conduit shown on the plan so that they're ready to accept when we get that figured out.
Thank you. Okay. And then my other question is the lighting that's in the carport. It's kind of in the middle of are those lights going to be on all night?
That may be a question for Chief Taylor or David from Fire District, if one of those gentlemen could chime in on that.
Here's my concern to the fire department is that because there are many residential right around that department, I mean, and that they look down on, some will be looking down. And so I'm concerned that in the, 4 o'clock at night, that these lights are on. So
Claire, we got the note. This person who's circling on the screen that is not in attendance has noted that those are motion sensor lights.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what okay.
Anything else, Claire?
Yeah, those are my only questions that I have.
Tip?
I have no question. Thank you.
Don?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay, so I have 3 questions. If you're putting in solar, are you also planning on putting in batteries? And if so, where?
I can take a stab at that one, John. That is all part of the consideration as we do the electrical study. There's an existing generator there, and I think that the department is in the mode of trying to, not just rely on one source of backup. So future battery wall may indeed be part of this, but it would likely be within the building itself.
Can we go back to the site plan, please? I know that at least as of now, fire trucks come usually from the bottom of this drawing up, turn left, and then circle around and get back into the garage, fire department parking bays. Does this in any way affect those turning radiuses or the ability to have them easily continue to maneuver that way, please?
Chief or David, I think that one's for you.
Yeah.
Much, Brian. Happy to answer the question. It does not impact the ability of the apparatus to utilize the bays as drive-through.
But the question was more about getting into the back of the bay.
Yes,
'Cause I
sir.
know-
Yep, I'm sorry, I didn't explain that very well. So when we say drive-through bay, that means that the engine never backs up on the site.
Right,
It would come in through the proposed gate, make a right, and then pull into the apparatus bay from the rear to
okay.
be facing back out towards Sycamore Canyon.
So this does not in any way affect that, which might cause 2 or 3 turns?
That's correct.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. And as it turns out, I live about 2 or 3 blocks from here, and I do walk by here quite often. And my overall sense is that this station is sparsely landscaped. Is there any opportunity that we could increase the landscaping during this proposal?
I don't want to speak for the department, John, but yeah, we can study that absolutely. And specifically, are you talking about in the front in the entry area on the north side?
Well, I was
Or
actually
west?
talking about, yeah, the front. I mean, it's a big wash of concrete right now. And I understand that, you know, you guys have a job. You need to be able to operate your stuff in and out. You do maintain your trucks out in front in the apron. You're always respectful to pedestrians and to the cars and keep the driving down, but it is a large mass of concrete. And what I was hoping, you know, this is our chance right now as a community to ask you to buff this landscaping up. This building is much more crisp than Fire Station 1. I know it was designed by a different architect. I know that the other one had a very high price and you tried to be more dollar wise. I get all of that. The question is, can we help soften it at this point? So is that a question for you to study, or can you answer that now, please?
Yeah, I'll take that one, Chair Watson, Chief Taylor here. We'll be happy to study that, but as you did articulate, there are many operational reasons for the hardscape in the front area. So we'll take a hard look at that and consider the current drought status and see what we can come up with.
Okay, good, very good. And so, public comment. Is there anybody attending this meeting, Zoom conference, that would like to address the board on item number 1, 2300 Sycamore Canyon Road, please?
Dawn, I don't have anybody here for that.
Okay, let's go back for comments. Claire, please.
I don't have any comments. I do have a one question outstanding in my head.
Okay, please go ahead.
Who was the person from the fire department who was responding to your landscape issue? Somebody, it wasn't Brian, and it wasn't.
No, I think it's the chief.
That was Chief Taylor, Claire.
It was Chief Taylor. That's fine. That's what I wanted to know. Yeah, fine.
Okay. And any comments, please, Claire?
No, I have no comments.
Tip.
This is acceptable, John. I think we can move this along.
Okay, Don?
Thank you.
Thank you. I live very, very close to the station before and after it has been built. And I must say that we had a few questions in the beginning when it was being built or proposed, but it's been an excellent neighbor and never heard anything. It's so I have really no objections to this proposal.
Okay, and my comments, I have 2 comments or 3 comments. Number 1, I think obviously for whatever reason, the drawings are very complete, and I think we should move this on to the consent calendar for both preliminary and final when they are ready to have that. But having said that, I think the entire community would be better served by having the fire department either refresh or add new landscaping. And I would be looking for that, as I am one of the 2 members of the consent calendar. And it's not just in the front, but I think also around the new carport if possible. So I know that there's a drought on, that's news to nobody, but there are many drought tolerant plants that I think could be used to enhance this project. So thank you. Anybody else before we finish this item? There is no motion because we're on for consent. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Item
Thank you,
number
Brian.
2, 1420 East Mountain Drive. Leslie or somebody else, I don't know who's representing this project. Bill, you're back on, so if you want to get yourself turned back on.
I'm here.
Okay, there are photos with this project.
Yes.
Leslie,
somewhere.
could you mute yourself, please?
Oh,
Yes,
you know what?
I've done that.
I think it's, okay, good. So please, who is addressing the board, please?
I'm addressing the board.
And your
I'm
name,
Leslie.
Leslie. Very good, thank you.
Mhm.
Please go ahead.
So I'm sorry, I haven't attended MBIR for many years, and is it my responsibility to illustrate the drawings to the board via Zoom and share my screen, or does the board do that?
Bill Wolf will do that for us, and you just help guide us, and he's an excellent member. So
Wonderful.
Just explain the project, please.
Okay. So I don't see anything, unfortunately. I just see a grid of people. Perhaps somebody could help me to be able to see Bill's screen. It will make it difficult for me to guide you through the drawings if I can't see them.
Does anybody know enough about Zoom to help her out? I do not. Bill, maybe?
Trying to think of what you've got up there. Maybe you have.
I've got the grid video up, and when I attempt to create a different view, my only way of seeing the drawings is on a thumbnail version of the video, which is very, very small.
Can you grab that thumbnail and stretch it by its corner?
Well, this is a Zoom issue then. It's
Yes.
Yes, it's a Zoom issue.
Are you on a Macintosh or?
I am on a Mac, Bill.
I think if you go up to your setting, are you able to see the items? If you pull your cursor up all the way to the top, there'll be a couple of items up there. I don't know if there's anything in there that would allow you. There's a thing called More. Do you see mute, stop video participants?
I don't see any of that, which I normally do see. That's what's so odd.
Okay, may I suggest?
I'm relatively versed in Zoom. We use these all the time.
May I suggest the following? Would you please leave the Zoom meeting, come back. We're going to go to the next item, and as soon as we're done with that, hopefully while we're back, come back to you, you will have resolved it. It may just be a setting that got triggered when you turned on. Would that be acceptable to you?
That's fine. I've actually had to do that 4 times already just to get the microphone to work, but I'm happy to do that again.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
See
This
you
is
in a
not that particularly difficult project, but let's try that. Let's go back now to item number 3 while Leslie tries to figure out her stuff. 805 Romero Canyon Road, please. This is an addition to a house. Is Christine here? Christian, I'm sorry.
It's okay, it's Christian.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I apologize.
No problem. I'm here, I'm the designer, and I'm here with the owner, Louis Carnevale.
And can you see the screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so it's not us.
No.
Okay, can you go help us through this project, please?
Yeah, so right now, the photo that you're looking at is an existing laundry area that we want to add an addition. It's a caretaker's room for the occupancy in the dwelling. So what we will do is we'll be removing that top roof that's flat, and we'll be putting a hip roof with an extension to that building. A caregiver room, sorry. So that wall you see there will be pushed out about 21 feet. On that shaded area, yes. And we will be increasing the kitchen space as well.
You can push it out 13 feet.
Oh, from the existing, yeah,
Yeah.
21 feet here.
Okay.
So what you're looking at right now is a proposed floor plan that we want to do for this project.
Okay.
If you want me to stop at a certain drawing, let me know.
Oh, I
You want
see.
to describe your elevations here?
Yeah, currently right now, so that it seems like the elevation A1 is the roof actually will align. That one's drawn incorrectly. This roof would not be higher than the existing roof that is existing right now.
It's aligned.
Yeah, that misalignment there, yes. It doesn't seem like they uploaded. I don't think Brian gave you the right file because I did revise those elevations. But not much has changed but the roof because I did add the dimensions from grade to roof.
So Bill, can you stop right here at this one? This is the proposed north elevation. Yours are so that roof is too high on this drawing, right?
Correct. No, at the moment the roof is drawn to what it's going to be. The roof that's existing will be aligned to it or slightly above. The existing house has an existing roof, but then they added more roof on top of it as well. So it's not your traditional 412 or 512 roof.
So on that drawing, A1, A6, is the existing roof too low, or is the
Yes.
proposed roof too high?
The existing roof is too low.
Very good, thank you.
Welcome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah.
You ought to be an architect, Bill. Okay.
So we've got, anything else you wanted to show us?
Anything else, Christian?
Oh, sorry. No, not what you see on the plans.
Okay. And did you do an FAR worksheet?
It is on the revised drawing that I sent to Brent. I think his name was Branson.
Okay.
I'm not sure if he uploaded the revised ones. I sent it to him.
When did you send those?
I sent them on, give me one moment. Let me pull it up.
Members of the board, I did not do an FAR calc as I sometimes do. This project is obviously a large property with a relatively small house. It's not going to have a problem with the FAR. So, but I was just curious. Okay, are you done here, Christian? May I continue?
You can continue, yes.
Okay, questions, Bill?
Yeah, Christian, what are some of these? I see a guest house. What is this? Is this an ADU or something? What
So
is
that was an ADU that was permitted and it's in construction at the moment.
Okay.
It's replacing an old ADU that was in dire repair, was falling down, so we're replacing it.
Did you get that?
I kind of something.
It's replacing a current, an old existing ADU that was on there.
Oh.
Aren't old either, but whatever.
Second question, and I don't know, maybe it's just more of a drawing thing. Is your fascia going to be deeper on this roof than that roof, the existing roof? Is that because of roof framing?
Yeah, it's roof framing, but we're gonna match it as close as possible to have the architectural feature all match.
Yeah, so the finishes, exterior, the windows and doors, the roofing will
all match to the existing house.
Okay, all right. And what kind of windows are those? Are those metal?
Right now, the existing house has wood windows.
Oh.
So we'll have to match the existing wood windows to the house.
Okay. Okay, I think that was all I had. Thank you.
Don Sharp?
No questions. Thank you.
Tip,
No question. Thank you.
Claire?
No,
And I don't either. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to address the board on item number 3, 805 Romero Canyon Road, please? Okay, seeing none or hearing none?
Sorry, John, nobody.
Okay, thanks so much, Sharon. Comments, please, Bill?
Yeah, I mean, you know, as long as everything's matching, it seems like it's a pretty nondescript, simple addition. I don't know if you're affecting any landscaping over here or not. You might want to let us.
There's not much of landscaping there. It's really just dirt and a concrete walkway.
Yeah, I
We're
mean,
not removing any trees.
it's a flag lot coming in, and it looks like your road is not in the easement or on the flag part, actually. I don't know what that's all about, but you'll work that out with the planner.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that generally speaking, it looks good. It looks acceptable as submitted, you know. Devil will be in the details though, so please
Correct.
make sure you show us how that works and how those will look.
Okay.
Tip,
I don't have anything else to add to that.
Claire?
I think it's fine. Thank you.
I don't have anything, you know, it's a 3, you know, acre lot, and it's out there in Romero Canyon, out there in no man land. And I think it's a perfectly acceptable and approvable project.
And I agree with that. And again, I would like to move this onto the consent calendar for both preliminary and final. But having said that, I think that the landscaping in the area that the addition is being added, it is rare that the contractors are delicate. And therefore, I am expecting there to be a fairly decent amount of disturbance to that area. Either, please tell us how you are going to restore or change that landscaping on a landscape plan so that we can be assured that it's going to happen. Obviously, there is a drought going on, so, you know, be sensitive to that.
Bill,
You
were there
may
any
do that.
in this? Did we see site photos at the beginning?
There was very few, just
There is very few, but I can provide more if you need to.
Yeah, getting closer to the addition, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's number 1. Obviously, number 2, please include the FAR worksheet on the final.
Okay.
That is a requirement. It should be and do not forget the ADU. It goes on the second portion under detached buildings. And number 3, are you planning on putting any site lighting on this project? Pathway lights, things of that nature, please.
Will it be pathway lighting?
Yeah, do you want to put any pathway lightings on it?
If it would be.
Or any landscape lighting.
No. Currently, right now, there is no pathway lighting, but the owner is still deciding if he wants to or not. If that is something that he proceeds with, I will show those on the plans, and I will get with the planner to see how we can fall under the regulations for those.
Okay, we ask everybody to be extremely modest in the number of lights. We feel that there's a lot of lighting coming in and it's altering the community. So does anybody object to this project being moved onto the consent calendar?
No.
Okay.
No.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you.
Dewey, Carnivale.
Carnivale, is that how you say it?
Yes.
Correct.
Thank you very much. See you guys at the consent calendar.
Thank you very much.
Okay, item number 2, Leslie, are you back with us?
I am back with you.
And do you see our screen?
I do. I still Bill pulling up drawings.
Okay, you see these?
The eagle has landed. Okay,
Yes.
so please go ahead and present the project.
It's nice to be in a room with people that actually knows that know what that means. I feel as though I'm becoming outdated. So to know what the eagle has landed means is a great thing.
We're all becoming outdated.
I know. I know.
You know?
That's the goal, I think. Isn't that the goal, really?
Yeah.
It's been a long
Okay.
time since I've seen some view. So Leslie Colas, I'm here representing the owner of this parcel. This is owned by the Lynn Kirst Trust. And basically, you've seen this project previously. I think it was presented to your board a year or so ago by Mr. Gregg. At the time, excuse me, at the time, the structure that was being proposed was smaller than the one that we are proposing at present. And what happened was Ms. Kirst retained me to take care of the working drawings for that project. And in doing so, I observed and she noted that the building that had been planned and presented to you previously was not large enough to meet her needs. So we're back in front of you today to basically propose sort of the same thing, but in an elongated version, for lack of a better way of putting it. So if we can scroll perhaps to the next sheet.
Oh.
In the, yeah. So it's in the same area that you had previously seen this. So it sits behind the current stables that are on the parcel. It'll be relatively invisible, so to speak, from East Mountain Drive because the stable sits in front of it and there's a large oak there in the courtyard of the stables. But it's basically been extended to the east as you look at it. That portion has grown. Yes, thank you, Bill, for pointing that out. That's kind of all there is to say about the site plan. We can scroll to the next sheet, which is really just an enlarged site plan intended to be used for more grading information when we develop things a little bit more. But you can see that this is almost fully encapsulated from a left-right page orientation from view on East Mountain Drive by the stable. So again, it's not very impactful to Mountain Drive at all. This is the floor plan. It's just a long, accessory building. It has a small powder room on the north, 5 small windows on the south, and a roll-up garage door on either end, east and west. And these are exterior elevations of it. So this should look relatively similar to what you've seen. We've added 1 cupola, we've added 2 windows so that proportions feel right. And that's kind of it in a nutshell. I'm happy to answer any questions. We don't have any details for this round. I just wanted to kind of get through a conceptual discussion with the board before we moved any further on this. But I'm happy to answer any questions.
Don Sharp.
I have no questions.
Chip.
I have no questions.
Bill.
Thought this looked familiar. The only question I have is your detail of the cupola. I know you're going to get into the details, and
yeah.
I would imagine you're probably going to have a little bit of thickness unless that's a standing seam or a copper top or something. Is that a prefab copper, the whole thing kind of a thing?
No, I don't think so. I think you'll probably see some sort of trim detail there that will thicken up that edge, similar to an eave or a fascia condition. Yeah.
Okay, that was all. Thank you.
Claire?
Is the entire building stone or are different elevations, some plaster and some are stone?
The southern elevation is stone and it is flanked on.
Yes, that's where you, okay.
And so the southern elevation is stone and it's flanked by a slump block pilaster condition that is related to the main residence on the property. And the other elevations do not have the stone. Ms. Kirst had expressed a desire to have the stone on the south side because it faces Mountain Drive. She wanted something that was a little bit nicer as you approached from below, but the east and west elevations are really intended to mimic and correlate to the existing garage that is attached to the main parcel, the main residence. And the uphill side really won't be visible by anybody.
So the other 3 elevations are plaster?
They are, yes.
But each corner of the building, all 4 corners has a pilaster.
Yes, it has a slump block pilaster to it.
And then what is the color of these 3 elevations that are not stone?
They would be similar to the main residence, which is a sort of a buff color. But I would bring that back to you with details.
Okay, so yeah, so it's kind of as I remember, it's kind of just a tan brown.
Correct. It's a neutral buff color. Yes.
Okay. That's all my questions.
So my question is for Kimberly. Are you there, please?
I am.
It is labeled a barn, and it is larger than 800 square feet. How do I know that it's a barn? And is it permitted this size because of the recent, I don't know, 2-3 years ago update on the detached accessory buildings, please?
So off the top of my head, the definition of barn does not have to have a specific agricultural component. I believe it's for the storage of vehicles or equipment, etc. So the definition of barn is rather broad. There does not appear to be any type of agricultural component on the property, but it also could be for the keeping of animals, which can be found accessory to the residential use of the property. So I believe it's going to be up to the property owner to provide us with details about the, what that barn structure is going to be used to store or hold.
Okay.
I can speak to that if
please.
there's a desire for that.
Yeah, please.
So what the client has imparted to me is that, so right now her stable is partly being used for hay storage, and she would really like to be able to use the stables for their intended purpose, which is the keeping of the animals. So part of this would be hay storage. It would be equipment storage related to the keeping of the animals. And it would also be for equipment storage related to the maintenance of the property. She does a lot of maintenance on the property, trying to keep it clear and open because of fire concerns. And she has associated equipment that she'd like to be able to store in the barn for that reason.
Okay, so thank you very much for that. And so related to that, Bill, can we go back to the site plan, please? I assume that the stable is the building that says A1105.
That's correct.
Yes.
What is the direct connection between the potential hay storage in 1106 with 1105? Has that really been worked out, or is it sort of, when they're out there, they're going to say, why didn't we think about this?
There's a battered ramp. It's noted as A1108 on the screen right now. And the idea is that that would be able to be used for bringing the hay around to the corrals, which are on the right, basically where note A1105 sits right now, and to move the hay between those two edifices.
Okay, and then my last question, architectural, the last ones were sort of use questions. Are these doors the most aesthetically pleasing doors, given the function that we could get on this project, please?
So the doors that are proposed are intended to match those that are on the garage of the existing residence.
Say that again, I missed that, please.
These doors are intended to match to the greatest degree possible the garage doors that are on the existing primary residence.
And can we see those, Bill? Do we get a photo of that?
If you go back to the photos, there may be, see if I have one back towards the residence.
Yeah, I don't think I have a picture.
Okay, very good. Those
That's
are
the
all-
closest you're gonna get is the one you're pointing to there, Bill.
Okay, so thank you. Now, anybody have follow-up or shall I ask for public comment? Public comment, is there anybody that would like to address the board on item number 2, 1420 East Mountain Drive, please?
I don't have anybody here, John. Thank you.
Okay, comments, Don.
Thank you. Two things. Number one, I do not particularly think that the 3 roof cupolas lined up like that, all the same exact size, are as good as a little variety, like enlarging the middle one so that it has a little more prominence. And secondly, it appears that the beam that comes out of the wall does not center on the slump stone columns. And I don't know if that's a drawing error, but to me, it really should center on those columns. Thank you.
Tip.
I do agree with a comment from Don Sharp, and other than that, I have no other thing to add to it.
Bill?
Yeah, I agree with that, Don. I think those are good comments. And the cupolas kind of was the proportion and scale. Maybe if you can experiment a little bit with that, I think that might help a lot. Obviously, they're going to be overlapping there, right? They're not sitting on top of the ridge, so you know, illustrated is a little different. But you know, I think generally everything's. Are these iron? I forgot to ask that in my question period. Is this an iron or a wood grill? Is that a hinge? What's happening there on those?
They are grills. They are iron grills.
That are not operable.
No, they're not operable. They're fixed, and those are in swinging casements.
Oh, glass in swing into the garage. Okay.
Into the barn, yes.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily settled, but I'm okay with the iron there. The shape maybe, unless it's matching something else that's arched in the house. I'm not sure that's being real effective, but anyway, that doesn't matter one way or the other. So anyway, just a comment, a heads up. Everything else looks fine though. Thank you.
Claire?
We in comments?
We are.
Yeah, I find this perfectly acceptable for this piece of property. I mean, we drive by this every time we go to Park Lane, and it's a beautiful piece of property. And I find this, the 3 buildings, the house and the 2 other ones, really consistent with the kind of area. The fact that it's this big piece of property and it's grassy, and then there's just these little tiny things. I actually like this piece of property, and I think the present owner is doing a really good job with it. That's it.
I also agree this is a nice building. I would encourage you to carefully consider the fact that if hay is stored in here with minimal ventilation, which is what you're showing here, it is very prone to self-ignite, and that you may want to find a way to integrate some decorative grills on the walls so that you get circulation of air in there that's quite robust, so that there's no problem with that. Besides that, I think it is a very nice project. And again, Claire and I are waiting for this project, I think, on the consent calendar. Does anybody else have any discussion about that? Is that where it should go?
No, I think that.
Okay, let's do preliminary and final on consent. Okay, we already did item number 3, We are now on to item
Thank
number
you.
4. Thank you. Now, there is a public comment, I know, so we will get to that after our questions. And this is it Martha? Are you going to be presenting today, or Steve? Are you? Very good.
Well, can I start, John?
Excuse me?
Should I start?
Let's just go through this. Concerns regarding neighborhood compatibility, design and height. Further discussion after story pole installation and site visit, which we did today. 3 of us made it during the meeting. Bill has been ill and visited it prior to this, so 4 out of 5 of us got there today. Story poles, roof line of first and second stories, all corners, which was done. So thank you very much, Steve. So please go ahead.
All right. Thanks, John. Steve Fort with Suzanne Ellis Planning and Permitting. I'm joined today by Martha Picciotti, our architect, Chris Gilliland, landscape architect, and I believe Chris Amos, our client and the property owner, is on the call as well. I'm going to do a brief intro, and then I'm going to hand it off to Martha and Chris. We'll try to be as efficient as possible. Like I said at the site visit, we have started the LUP process. We have an initial feedback letter. One of the key things in that initial feedback letter came from flood control, and they informed us that the property and much of this neighborhood, so this affects most of the neighborhood moving forward, we're in an advisory flood elevation area. So the finished floor of the house needs to be 2 feet above that advisory flood elevation, and the story poles did reflect that elevation. We did include some inspirational images toward the back of the plans that you had requested. And I believe you have the renderings that we reviewed this morning, and Sharon forwarded those on this afternoon or late morning. I just want to emphasize there is a variety of design in the neighborhood. There's no definitive style, and it really is a neighborhood in transition. Even since the 80s onward, there's been 2-story homes being built in the neighborhood. Maybe not everyone wants 2 stories, but 2 stories gives you a little more square footage on these small lots in the neighborhood. We feel like we've broken up the massing in light of the limitations on the lot. Tried to use some recessions and projections and put doors and windows in certain places. The second story is set back from the front lot line. We tried to break up the massing on the sides. The height is varied. With regard to FAR, the project is proposing 108%, which is within the range of the existing 2-story homes on Orchard and Tabor. The average FAR of those 2-story homes on Orchard and Tabor is, minus 1 lot that is essentially a double lot. That average FAR of the 2-story homes on Orchard and Tabor is 102%. The height, we're proposing 25 feet 4 inches. The max allowable, as you know, is 35 feet or 2 stories. Again, we're needing to meet that flood control elevation for the finished floor. Currently, there's 6 2-story homes on Orchard and 4 2-story homes on Tabor, so 10 total. And we probably foresee that will increase as we move into the future. The height of those 2-story homes on Orchard and Tabor ranges from 22.5 feet to 30 feet. And again, the project is proposing 25 feet 4 inches within that range of existing 2-story homes. So we think we have a project that's in proportion and scale with the other more recent structures in the neighborhood. We aren't substantially larger than those homes that have been built more recently. We're not impacting public views. Certain private views are already obscured. With regard to that solar access exhibit you requested at the site visit, John, we don't have that yet. We can work on that and bring it back to you when we do come back. I did look at the parking section of the ordinance, and I understand where you're coming from. There is one provision in there that says tandem parking can be allowed on residentially zoned lots of less than 7,000 square feet or less than 7,000 square feet. But regardless, we'll work that out with our planner, Kathleen Volpe, and come back to you. When we come back to you, we'll explain where we're at with that. Just for closing for me before I hand it to Martha, I just want to reiterate, this is a 2-story house, well within the height limit. We're within the range of the existing FAR in the neighborhood. And there is no maximum lot coverage standard. We realize that there's a balance necessary for 2-story structures in this neighborhood as the neighborhood sort of transitions. Everyone in the neighborhood has the ability to propose a 2-story house moving forward if they like. And, again, we realize there's a balance, and we anticipate comments from you folks on the story polls. And, we hope we can get some constructive comments for whatever they might be about overhangs or floor plates or balconies. And I'm going to hand it off to Martha, who's going to go through some comments she has on the plans, and then Chris, and then we'll be back to you guys.
So Bill, before we leave Steve, I did request some of the additional 3D views, which they sent. Why don't we get those up in part of this discussion right away?
Oh, yeah.
Because I think that really explains the buildings pretty well.
Thanks.
It's right there. Good job.
Chris, you want to, or I'm sorry, Martha, you want to dive in?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if you can see me. I think I accidentally removed myself from sight.
That's fine.
Okay.
Hey, Martha, they have the renderings up, so why don't you just go through your comments and
Sure. Yeah.
they have on the screen what they want.
Good afternoon, members. I have to say, Steve did an excellent job presenting the project. There's really not that much left for me to say, except that the design, if you want to look at the floor plan, site plan on sheet 3, that's up to you. But really, the house the design focuses on an indoor-outdoor lifestyle, with the bulk of the massing, as he said, to the rear of the property. The rear part of the house has an open floor plan, which steps out onto the rear deck, which then flows down into a garden. You can see how planters of Santa Barbara stone anchor the house in the landscape. Glass railings also help reduce the scale. There was, when we started this project a while ago, we met with the neighbors to the south, and on that portion of the property, we were proposing a roof deck and an exterior stair to the roof deck, which we removed per their request to provide them with more privacy. We also met with the neighbors to the north and got their buy-in to the project. So we have worked with the neighbors and reduced the scale and bulk of the project as much as possible, but with respect to the neighbors. So if you want to maybe just go, well, I'll say one more thing. The design of the house is contemporary. However, natural organic materials such as wood and Santa Barbara stone warm up the architecture and connect it to the landscape. I think you can look at the inspiration photos. I think you went right through them. And I think Chris's landscaping plan is going to help explain the house to you in more detail, because the house cannot really work well without a wonderful landscape design that he is proposing.
And do we have sections available through the building, please?
We do not have sections. We just have side elevations which show the grade.
Right, and can you tell us what the first floor to floor is and the second floor to floor, please?
If we go to the elevations on sheet number 7, I think I can tell you that. It's 10 foot floor to floor on the first floor and 9'7" on the second.
Oh. Say that. Can you say that again?
Sure. Yeah. 10 feet floor to ceiling on the first floor and 9'7" on the second floor.
Those are the clear interior dimensions plus structure, right?
Correct. So I have 16-inch, I'm going to do 14-inch TJIs, and then 10-inch 9/7/8 plus roof, So I'm allowing 20 inches for the roof.
Yeah, okay.
And do you have anything more to, Chris, did you want to chat with us?
Sure, I can walk you through. landscape plan. It's
Thank you.
towards the end.
I don't mean to cut off Martha. Were you done? I apologize if I cut you
Well,
off.
that's okay. Like I said, I think Steve did a great job. If you have more questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Okay, excellent. Chris, please.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me get my annotations going here. So let's see, at the here we have Orchard Avenue and then our driveway entry. We do have a sliding gate that will I guess the owner has some issues with people turning around and even parking in their driveway, hence the 36 to 42 inch high wall and gate out at the front. The driveway would be sort of an enhanced concrete, maybe a sand finish and then mesa buff, something like that. And then we're have a little pedestrian walkway coming in off the street with a little wood gate and flagstone stepping stones, a couple steps right in here, and clear that. Leading up to a little courtyard here at the front to create a nice little space with some potted citrus and a little bench to hang out while you wait for your guests to show up. Trash enclosure over here on the side, and we have a nice little sort of courtyard created on the south side, help break up that mass and elevation. And then, as Martha mentioned, at the back we have the sort of outdoor living space on the raised deck and some sort of seating platforms that go down to a simple gravel pathway that just allows circulation around the house. We have a couple of existing avocado trees. Whoops. Sorry. A couple existing avocados in the corner here and here that we want to maintain. So this wall actually that is shown here ends up, because of the flood elevation, we got it a little bit higher. It was going to only be 18 inches maybe. So I think we raised that about a foot. So we're somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 feet on that wall. And a little outdoor barbecue. And some existing hedging, which is shown in white, a lot of existing all the way around currently. That's all existing hedge. And then we're proposing a new hedge on the north side. And as far as the style of the garden, there's a preliminary plant list, pretty classic Italian sort of Mediterranean olive trees and lavender, rosemary, that kind of thing. A little bit of bougainvillea and some diamondia in between stepping stones. There's a spa in the back off the deck and some of those raised planters, which were also already mentioned. So in a nutshell, that's about it. We're showing some lighting. On the next page, we have our little preliminary drainage and grading plan, although there's not much happening there.
And Chris, are you now done?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And Steve, so is your presentation done, please?
Yep, we are done. Be happy to answer any questions. I might want to reply to anything you guys come up with.
Yes, of course. I know that there's someone that wants to comment. The normal procedure, which we will follow, is to have the board ask questions. Then it will be your turn to make a comment. So, and then the board will finish up with comments. Tip.
No, I do not have any questions. Thank you.
No, questions. Very good. Excellent. Bill, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry I missed the meeting, but I did drive by and see the story poles. You had asked John for a solar study on this side casting.
On the north side, casting to the north property owner.
Had anybody considered that on your team, Steve and Chris and Martha?
We've given it some thought. We have not prepared the plan yet that John asked for, though. No.
Okay. And I think one of the items on the original was the contemporary styling in that neighborhood. How did you guys address that? Did you talk about that? Did I miss something in there? What was your feeling on that?
Chris, Steve, do you want to address that or you want me to?
Martha, why don't you?
Yes, we did address it, and I showed some inspiration photos at the end. Perhaps we can scroll back to those if Bill missed those right here. Yeah.
I'm not talking about I know that it's a contemporary design, but how it, in terms of how it fits in the neighborhood.
Oh, well,
Well-
go ahead, Chris.
I'll jump in. You know, there's a variety of styles in the neighborhood. Obviously, many of the homes are older, but again, since the 80s, there's been a variety of styles that have been developed in the neighborhood. There is at least one more modern house. It's up at the end of Orchard on the left. You know, it is a modern style, but it does include some sort of warming, you know, material elements, and we have a nice landscape plan to blend it in. And it's, you know, it's a neighborhood in transition. We believe that, you know, as people continue to redevelop their houses, they're however old they are, 50, 70 years old, which probably inevitable that some of them get redeveloped or more of them get redeveloped. You know, I think you're going to see more of a variety of styles, including modern.
And one last question, how did the neighbors that you worked with on the north and south, were they okay with the design styles and what you're proposing?
They wrote supporting letters, each one of them.
And I believe there's a public comment coming from a neighbor who might be to the south.
Okay, all right, thank you, that was all.
Claire, questions? Claire? I
don't think at this point I have any questions. No, I don't have any questions.
Don, you weren't able to make the site visit, but do you have any comments about any questions, please? Don
Me?
Sharp? Yes.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, what is the distance between the gate and the edge of the pavement on the street?
Oh, that's a good one, Don.
I don't know if that's dimensioned.
But
I do know we did, if you're going to go to the fire department, we did show it to the fire department and they were okay with it.
Yeah.
Looks like about 10 feet. It's about a third of that distance.
Yeah, about 10 feet.
Well, I'm mostly concerned about car tail ends sticking out while you're waiting for the gate to open and on a relatively narrow street.
Uh-huh.
That's just a question. Also, how tall are the walls around the trash enclosure?
Oh, where is?
About between 4 and 5 feet. Just enough to screen the trash.
Okay. Bill, go back down to where we were.
Those are actually
I was gonna
shown.
look for the,
Yeah.
it's on yours? I was looking-
Whatever page you're on, Bill, where that shows the trash enclosure.
I was looking for it on the elevations. I don't see it on
It
there.
would be the street elevation, I believe.
Sheet 7 has it.
Oh, there it is. It's that's the well.
Sheet 7, sorry. No,
Oh, that's a different sheet.
that's, you mean 8.
No.
There we
Keep
go.
going.
It's the bottom left there.
Site plan. We just saw you just had it up there, Bill, when we were talking about the driveway. Where?
It's right here.
It's right there, yeah. Okay, thank you.
So are you done, Don?
Yes.
Can we go to the inspirational photos, please?
Yes, sir.
When I look at these, particularly the one in the lower left, but also lower right, it seems to me that there is a greater articulation and less pushing side yard to side yard than what you have shown in your design. So the question is there a way to reorganize the second story so that it pulls off of the side yard setbacks, please?
Well, that was going to be my comment.
Well, I got it in questions. How's that? So Martha, are you there?
Yes, I am. I'm happy to address that. I feel that we did do that. If you want to go to sheet number 5, which shows the second story.
Or we could go to the...
Yeah. But this does show how we pulled it off. I mean, there's not the I forget what the area of the second floor is. It's really a very small building lot. So we worked very hard to pull the house off the side yards and pull it back as much as possible. Really, the only portion of the second story that is right there where your cursor is. And I designed this thing every which way. And we felt that this was the least offensive area for the massing. If you notice, it's pulled back on the street side, all along the south side, and most of the north side. So that is the only place where it does that. And it's just such a tight site. I just couldn't see any other way to do it.
Okay, so let me ask you one other question.
Sure.
If the master bedroom, master bath, and bedroom number 2 is a more or less a rectangle, I know there's a jog in it, it's more or less a rectangle. If it were flipped along the east-west axis, so the bedroom number 2 was on the north side, and if that bedroom's ceiling height was reduced, would that help reduce the apparent mass and solar shadowing on the north property, in your opinion? I'm not saying you should do it. I'm just asking whether or not it's an idea that would enable you to create more variety and less shadowing on your neighbor. Is that possible, please?
I mean, I have to say no. We looked at it every which way, and there just seemed no way to do it. So I would have to say no.
Okay.
And then by doing what we did, we were already trying to pull it back from the rear yard as much as possible too, because I felt that the more we pushed out into the rear yard, the more we're encroaching and sort of looming over neighbors even more. So really the idea was to shrink that piece as much as possible.
I didn't say increase it, I said flip it.
Yeah, but it doesn't. But how, let me ask you a question. How would that make it better if you flip it?
It would.
You get to lower this bedroom number 2, which is not the master, lower that ceiling is part of the whole package.
Oh, that. Well, I'd have to talk to my clients, but
Of course.
that is something for sure that I think we would definitely consider. Absolutely.
Okay. Now, public comment. We're up to somebody. So would who's ever there on the cell phone, you unmute yourself on cell phones with *6. Can you reveal yourself, please? *6, cell phone. Anybody? Public comment? Sharon, is there still somebody on the cell phone that you can see?
I've got somebody raising their hand. Yeah.
Okay, let's try to get that person on, please.
Callie.
Well, it's actually Joseph Cowley. Can you unmute yourself, please?
There you go. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you very much, Joseph.
Fantastic. Can you see me?
No.
No.
Okay. Part of that is I have, unfortunately, my wife's a recording artist and we've been on tour for 2 months. And then we got back from Germany and got COVID. So we hadn't been up to the house for 2 months. We got there and saw the notice from April. And then we saw the poles and flags and had a heart attack and died. The most significant thing for me, besides—
Joseph, may I interrupt you? Where are you in relationship to this house, please?
Where I'm not in the house at the moment.
I know, but would you be?
I will be there tomorrow.
No. Are you on the north, south,
I'm on the
street?
south. I'm so sorry. I'm on the south side.
Okay, excellent.
And
Thank you.
when you go and look and you walk on the street, if you're not in our yard, if you come in our yard and see what we see, which I have pictures on my phone, and unfortunately you can't, I guess you can't see me. I could have shown those. It's breathtaking. It dominates completely. There are no more mountains anymore. We're looking at this huge modern structure that to me is not consistent with our street. Orchard is a charming, beautiful, street. And even the pictures of the modern homes that we were shown before, samples, are low and integrated into the vegetation where they don't stand up like a monolithic structure in white. It's like we have no yard anymore. There will be absolutely no privacy. I have pictures from our deck and from our yard, and we have these gorgeous gardens, and all you see are both levels of the house with the flags and the poles. And I don't know how to upload these pictures, but they tell it all. I mean, if any of you came into the yard, you'd get it immediately. I wouldn't have to say a thing. And we'd start thinking about, this is a problem. You know, we used to see the mountains. We won't see that at all from the deck. And from the yard, we're just looking at, it's this huge structure way above the trees. And we have really tall trees. Even the back neighbor made us cut them down a little bit. They were so high.
So I have a question for Joseph. Can I ask that, John?
Yes, please. Speak
Joseph,
up, Bill.
Well, is he done with his comment first?
Yeah, if I can't show a picture, then I'm definitely done with my comment.
Bill, please.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Joseph, were you, it sounded like the applicants were working with you on the design.
I have been opposed from the beginning. What I was first horrified from was the deck. There was going to be a deck up there where they would have, you know, chairs and maybe a barbecue and whatever. And that like flipped me out, but we were fine. They agreed not to put the deck. But we talked about the height of the structure going beyond the trees and whether it would affect, you know, we didn't have the plans. You know, I didn't see the actual detail. The poles and flags are the most dramatic way to see what the structure is. I mean, it really is clear seeing that is what it is. And I invite anyone to come into our yard to look at this. You will get it immediately.
So Joseph, are you now done?
Yeah.
I'd like to be the devil's advocate, if I may.
Sure.
Is it a modern house that's the problem, or is it any two-story house, even if it had modest roof heights?
It's the modern house because it's such a square box when you see it blocking everything. I'll give you an example. I wish we could go back to the screenshot that the architect showed of samples of other modern homes.
Yes, Bill, can you do that, please?
There was a two-story home there that was so beautifully tucked in. The one to the right of, the one on the right, top right. Now that's a two-story home, I think. Yes. And it's beautifully tucked in and not having everything towering as if it's a massive monolith. That's a very beautiful integration to me of a more modern design.
Okay, so this is longer than we normally do. I would like to close public comment. Is that okay with you, Joseph?
Yeah, can I just ask, what is, will there ever be a chance to put those pictures up of the?
Please contact, do you have a copy of the agenda, please?
Yeah, I talked to Ms. Volpe this morning.
And ask her how you can send those photos to her, please.
Okay, terrific.
Okay.
Terrific. Yes.
Oh, okay, is there anybody else that would like to address the board, please?
Lori, do you want to say anything? My wife is also on.
Well, I would like to just say that, you know, for us, you know, the main thing is really the towering over our yard. You know, I'm concerned about privacy issues. You know, I can see from the plans that it looks like, you know, it's glass and a staircase and looking into our yard. You know, I hate to be all emotional, but this is a house that my mother got me before she died. And, you know, it's super important. It's a little haven. And I'm so concerned about the property value of our home, of course, the view, but mostly it's the privacy in the back. I can't imagine putting up any trees or anything that will cover that and soften that that for us. That's my point. Thank you for letting me talk.
Thank you. And Sharon, is there anybody else that would like to address the board, please? Sharon?
I don't know if this person on the phone wanted to speak.
Do you have their name or phone
I don't
number?
have the name. I just, if the person on the phone wants to unmute themselves and speak, now's the time. It's *6. So they're not saying anything, John.
Okay, if you are having trouble and want to address the board, please keep trying and we will cut you in when we can. Okay, so I'm going to close public comment unless that person wants to address this. Back for comments. Tip, you were on the site today. What do you think?
Well, I have a couple comments. Number one, let's talk about the FAR for a second. Even though, we see the 1.08 FAR, however, because of the way the massing of the house has some two-story volume and the balconies, which make it visually much bigger than the 1.08 FAR. So that's one concern I have. The second concern I have is the balcony wrap around to the side, which I think will directly look into the neighbor's property that had to do with the privacy issue, which I have a problem with. Number three is that I've been walking up and down the street and you are right. There are a lot of two-story houses. One concern I have is the size with the very big windows facing orchard, all glass, and I think that is definitely a little bit out of character for the street. So, and unfortunately, the house had to be 2 feet higher to comply to the flood elevation, which obviously you have to do. So I just want to see if the applicant can find a way to soften up the house a little bit. I'm not sure what the best way to do it. With a 5-foot setback, which is a very small, which, very tight with a small lot. It seemed like the house is really looking down to the neighbors. So those are my comments.
Thank you very much. Bill, please.
Yeah, those are good comments, Tip. I agree with that. I like contemporary design homes, certainly favor them. I like this one. I think it's attractive, but I think whether or not this is the neighborhood for this style is, I'm still kind of on the fence about. I mean, I was trying to search the neighborhood. I did see the one up on the left. What little I could see, it was kind of tucked behind a lot of trees and landscaping, so I couldn't really compare it to this. This is certainly a neighborhood that has a variety, but the variety is not anything as contemporary as this. I like the finishes and the materials. So I'm still on the fence about whether or not the design is the right one for this neighborhood. I don't know. I'll see what the other board members think. The other side that is more concerning to me is that east face and how it is pushed up against that. Of all the sides, that probably is going to impact the sun casting on and the shadow casting on the neighbor. That is probably the most impactful right there on that east or that north face. And I think there are ways to pull that back, and maybe you might lose a little deck. That's okay, and maybe it's a little bit of square footage, and you're reworking this, or maybe as you, John, had said, maybe the bedroom 2 goes over here and the master goes over there. There's probably ways to rework that and pull that edge off of there. There's a lot of examples. We're seeing these obviously through the Mesa, Santa Barbara, small lots, people are trying to maximize their house, and they're toying with the idea of flat roof contemporary, and it's the same style of home. They're not really contemporary homes with flat roofs in there. So what people are doing is pitched standing seam metal roofs with low slope roofs, and the finishes, these are just ideas and concepts from me. I'm not necessarily saying everybody's going to think the same way, but it might be that the way these materials are, maybe it's wood, but maybe it's not horizontal, thin slat, exposed. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what the answer is without redesigning it for you, and I don't want to do that. But there might be some softer ways to approach that. In other words, that's what I'm getting at, generally speaking. Again, I like the style, but is it appropriate here? I'm still on the fence about it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Claire?
Okay. So, this, I guess what we're calling this, the east elevation, that goes all the way along with this narrow little space in between that and the hedge. You know, I can't accept that. Okay.
For the record, that's the north elevation. Let's
It's
get
the
that
north
straight.
elevation.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. Everybody was talking about it as though it was the east. I'm sorry.
It's the north.
It's the north. Okay. So it's this long, flat elevation, you know, that I can see that really does impact not the neighbor to the south, but this neighbor, you know, who has a very low slung house next door. Because I walked up their driveway and looked up at the story poles, and it's just whoa. And so that I think the house could be lowered. I don't think we have to have 10 foot on the lower, and then 9.7. You know, that's one of the reasons that this house appears so large. You know, when you stand on the street, it appears as though it's set by setback, and it's very, very tall. And in walking up and down the street, you know, before everybody else got there, I did go all the way up, and that other contemporary house is nowhere near as tall as this house is. So that's, for me, a problem, is the height, the overall height of the house, you know, and setback, so the height, and yeah, and that for me, in order, I think that the architect needs to figure out how to set back the second story, you know, from the first story. You know, the first story, fine, but the second story needs to be made smaller and with it kind of, so it looks like it's, you know, not side to side, but, you know, maybe getting rid of the deck. I don't know what it is, but it's like, you know, it's a 9 foot, 7 foot tall second story. You know, so the whole house needs to be kind of bring down. You know, I mean, I was like, I guess the neighbor was shocked. I was shocked when I saw the story poles this morning. I just went, wow. You know, for this neighborhood, it's got to be, I mean, we all know it's a small neighborhood. We have small, you know, and thank you, Steve, for all the work that you did with all the presentation, you know, and there are very few second stories on this neighborhood, either both Tabor and Orchard. You know, it's a small cottage type neighborhood, and this house is overwhelming for this neighborhood. So those are my comments.
Thank you. Don, please.
Thank you. The perspectives and the exterior elevations as shown do not show the adjacent residents on either side. And I think that's very, very important, especially in this particular kind of situation. Also, when a contemporary structure like this is composed of volumes that have different wall textures, glazing situations, normally you alleviate the boredom of all this by raising and lowering the different shapes and elements that have the different wall materials, and not just have one flat roof. And that would help a great deal in making a contemporary structure fit more into the neighborhood. I am concerned about the distance between the gate and the edge of pavement for a stacked up car waiting for the gate to open. And I think this home is not in character with the neighborhood at all. Thank you.
Okay, so as it turns out, architectural practices are inherited in some cases. The firm that Tip, one of our board members, had, it's called Warner Architects, and Jack Warner, who is no longer with us, designed his own house before Tip was involved in that firm. So Tip has absolutely no culpability here at all, on Middle Road. And I would highly recommend that people drive by that, applicants and neighbors. He built a 2-story house that's probably not too far off from this, right up against the side yard setback, and the neighborhood blew a fit. And it's a lovely home, but it's probably too much for that neighborhood. And my sense when I drove up here, Claire sort of summarized it in her own way, you know, but I also was aghast at the volume of this house in this neighborhood. So exactly how that's to be treated, I don't know. But, and I'm not going to try to say that I do know. I think that the 10-foot clear on the floor in a modest neighborhood is more than we normally see. I think you guys are getting a little bit of a sorry state in the sense that the flood control is requiring you to be up. So, and I understand that 9.7 on the second floor is also that, but 2, you know, is also higher than we would normally see in a more modest neighborhood. Oftentimes what people do is that they have lower plates on a sloping roof with a volume ceiling that goes up so that they get some volume in their room. I know that that's a sloping roof solution that I just described. And, but I agree with Don. I really have a very hard time seeing this design in this neighborhood. I think the buildings you showed were charming. These that Bill has on the site were charming, are charming. And, but they don't, you know, the upper right is set in a forest. Lower right doesn't have anything around it. And I sense that it's got some space around it. I'm not so sure. Clearly, it is not side yard to side yard. Second, on the upper left is side yard to side yard, probably, and it is boxy. And I think that that is telling the truth about what this project may end up being. And at the end of the day, the architectural guidelines are about neighborhood compatibility. And I don't see that as being compatible with a 1-story and 2-story with almost all sloping roofs. Thank you very much for putting up the story poles. They reveal a lot. Steve, I'll get to you in a second. They reveal a lot, but I don't know, you know, usually it's a tweak. I would like to have you guys go back and think about stuff again. Steve, please.
John, can I make a comment?
Yes, please, Tip. Thank you.
Yeah, so you brought up a very interesting project you write was done by the firm Warner and Gray in the late 80s. And the address is 267 Middle Road.
Just above Butterfly.
Yeah, and I think that, yeah, the applicant should really take a look at that house, because actually it's really interesting that it's set way back from the street, not as close as this. There are some existing really tall eucalyptus that frame the house. And the most important thing is that the house is completely has no windows facing the street. It's all internally windows facing the courtyard. And the color is also, you know, a dark gray that make it really completely kind of receded instead of standing out and imposing on the street. So I think that those, you know, special consideration really made the projects kind of disappear in my mind. And there are actually two houses, not one, and they seem like they, definitely not something that you can see when you drive by, unless you look for it.
And the neighbors blew a fit.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
John, can I just tag in something else here?
Please.
I happen to have driven by after this other site visit. I drove down along the front, the ocean side, and I happened to stop and look at a house that Tip designed on a small lot and it's contemporary, and it's a beautiful contemporary house.
And what street was that, please? What street was that, please?
Channel Drive.
Yeah.
Channel Drive. Okay, and it's a little skinny lot, and it's next to a historic house, but I hadn't seen it. I hadn't been there, and I hadn't seen it since it was rebuilt, or the new house was built. And I'm just giving that as a recommendation to the designer of this house, that they might just go buy that house, because it's set back and it's contemporary, flat roof, 2-story, and it's really a beautiful house, Tip, by the way. And I think that this architect should go look at that house to see how on a small lot, a contemporary house can exist.
Is it the one that's immediately adjacent to the Biltmore?
Yes, it is. It's that
immediately to the west of the Biltmore. Okay.
Yeah. This one's not finished here in this.
No, but it's now finished. It's now finished, and it is really, it is so beautiful. It's been a long time since I've been by that neighborhood.
Okay, we need to keep this thing moving. Thank you, Claire. Excellent. Now, Steve, did you need or want to talk to us, please?
Just briefly, and don't want to argue with you. I hear the comments about, your sort of style tweaks and softening things up and things to study. I hear you. We are within the range of other 2-story houses on the street. I hear your concerns about sort of the bulkiness of it. We hear that, and we can study some of that stuff. And I'm glad that Claire came back with that example on Channel Drive, because I've heard you guys say many times that about, in so many words, if someone wants a certain style, as long as they can bring it along, that you can sort of afford someone the opportunity to go with the style that they want. So I just want to say, we do like the style. The owner likes this style. I don't think we're probably not going to go the way of a sloped roof. I understand you have concerns about shadowing and things that we need to study. And kind of going back to public comment too, everyone in the neighborhood has the opportunity to build a 2-story house, with appropriateness, and it'll get approved by MBAR. And everyone in the neighborhood is going to have to deal with that flood control elevation as well. So it's not going to be just this property moving forward. There's going to be more of this coming forward, and I just hope we can keep that in mind as we move forward and come back to you guys.
It's called bulk, Steve. It's size, bulk, and scale. And that's what it is. This is bulky.
Thank you all. We're going to close this up. I want to make one quick comment to the neighbor. You will not receive another agenda from us. It is your responsibility to maintain vigilance on when the agendas come out. If you're not on the list, please contact Sharon Foster at the planning department. She will put you on the list, but it is your responsibility to be noticed, to determine this. We will not notice you again. Thank you all.
Hey, John, could I make one comment? I think it's really important to have a streetscape sketch with the house on both neighboring homes. It's hard for us to imagine a 10-foot distance between without more context of what it's like in the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that's it on item number 4. Item number 5, Greg Van Sand, are you here? 1136 Hill Road. Greg, are you around, please? Greg?
Mr. Chair, while we're waiting for Greg, is the direction that they need to come back for further conceptual, or can
Yeah.
they move forward for preliminary? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
And Kimberly, as long as you're on.
Yes.
There is no solar ordinance in the county.
That is correct.
If you have an opportunity, please drive by this site. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, Greg, are you around?
Greg's in the attendees. He needs to be promoted.
Sharon, can you get Greg up to?
In the meantime, do you want to read these, John?
I will. Okay, one member believes wall is too tall. Screening required for the wall for the neighbor to the east. Wall needs to tie in visually to the existing adjacent wall, I guess to the west. Need documentation from acoustical engineer indicating height of wall is necessary to achieve desired sound reduction. Site visit required, which we had today. So Greg, are you there, please? Yeah, there was a memo. So can you go back to that memo?
I didn't see any particular notes.
Okay, approval by the board. Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
So Greg, Sharon, is he there? Item number 5, Greg, please. Okay, can we move on to item number 6 while everybody's figuring out how to get Greg here? Is that okay with everybody?
Yes.
Yeah, it's fine.
Item number 6, 1781 Fernald Point. Tim, are you here, please?
I am here.
Excellent, thank you. Can you please go through the project? We are on for concept still. I'm not quite sure why you're on for concept.
I might be able to make that clear. First of all, thank you all for seeing us again. We were here, I think, August 26th for preliminary approval. And we got favorable remarks with a few comments about the fenestration and some of the details on the elevations. And so as we were working to resubmit, we were having serious conferences with our owner who wanted to make a fairly serious design change and bring this down to a single-story house, favorable to her moving in and aging in place. So we've had a fairly serious redesign. It's similar in many ways to the project you saw before. And we believe we've addressed your notes, but primarily it's gone from a 6,022 square foot house with 7 bedrooms and 9 baths to a 3-bedroom, 4-bath house that's 3,627 square feet. There is a small section of a 2-story volume that is primarily a stair tower to get you to a view deck. But the remaining first floor is the same exact footprint as it was before. We've lopped off two small protuberances, one on the beach side and one on the east side, but it still has the same footprint as the house you saw in August. In addition, I think the most extraordinary feature of this redo is that now there's an exterior stair in the central private courtyard that takes you up to the tower, and then sandwiched between the 2 roofs of the 2 side pieces is a view deck that's aimed at the ocean.
And that stair goes from the parking north up to the tower, not visible from the south, correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
You go through actually a gated door into the courtyard, which is separated from the parking court. And then once you're in the courtyard, you may ascend the stairs.
John, can we go back to the site plan just before we start going all these through? I just don't remember this whole, okay. And was this the existing site plan or is this a new site plan?
This is existing.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
This is the new, I guess, right?
Yes.
We were favorably disposed before, minor comments.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out where we are in the process. Okay, that's all. That's what I just wanted to see what he had presented before and where he is now.
There's your stairway.
So Tim, are you finished or did you have something else you want to chat about?
Maybe just a few other really minor comments. I think as last time, we've put clay tile on the roof of the structure, which currently has a comp shingle roof on it. We've added some details like voussoirs similar to the Santa Barbara courthouse around the large arches, and we've added some brick sills and diverse chimney caps. Most of those were done to reflect the comments we got in August. And the landscape plan is primarily similar. I think Amy Blakemore will talk you through that briefly, but it's largely the same palette of materials, largely the same window style and detail shapes, but it's now a single-story house.
Well, the drawings that Bill's running through now I actually explain why. Now I get to see what's going on here.
So Tim, are you done there, please?
Am I finished? Yes.
Yes. Amy, are you here? Would you like to address the board or not?
I'm here, and I think just to reiterate Tim's comment that the landscape plans are extremely similar to what you reviewed previously. There weren't any concerns about it at that time. And we've just kind of reconfigured some things to accommodate some minor changes on the building, but essentially it's the same. We do have some nice new screening that's going in on either side of the property, some metrocederos, which we have agreed with one of the neighbors to hold down the height of as it extends towards the ocean side of the property, just to preserve some views. But in essence, it's all basically the same as what you reviewed previously.
Are you guys done?
I'm finished.
And Tim?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Tip, questions?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Don?
No questions.
Bill?
Building lighting exterior, just real quick while do you have that somewhere on here?
It is.
I see the lighting in the landscape.
Landscape lighting, just pretty minor landscape lighting for paths and such.
Is that
There
a
is-
night sky compliant fixture there?
There are a few sconces, one by the front door, for example. There is one semi-flush mount that's up in the tower as you get through top of stairs into the roof deck. And then there are, you can see sort of on this elevation, those sconces are periodically placed around the side of the house.
Not night sky compliant though, looks like.
The question, not night sky compliant?
I see a fixture there. Are you modifying those to accommodate night sky?
Yes, that's a Hollywood fixture that we've actually used a couple times now, and we add not just the top cap, which was a custom feature the first time, but we add a perimeter 3-inch apron below that to make it even further dark sky compliant.
Okay, great. That was it. Thank you.
Claire?
No questions.
And Amy, can you go over the landscape lighting for us, please? Is it shown on these drawings or no?
It did.
Yes, it is.
It's running a little slow. What page? Is this it here? L2?
If you just keep scrolling down, I believe there it is.
L2?
Yes.
And how many and where, please?
So we just have some path lights for safe passage in the existing motor court. So that fixture A, you can see that goes just 1, 2, 3, 4 at the motor court. And then we've got 6 at the motor court that are those path light fixtures. And then a couple on the interior of the courtyard and 2 down lights that there's an existing pergola that's to remain. So we're gonna just put a couple down lights on that. And that is it.
Very good, thank you. Questions? Okay, so public comments. Is there anybody attending the Zoom conference that would like to address the board on item number 6, 1781 Fernald Point, please?
John, I have somebody raising their hand. Eva,
Okay.
did you want to speak to this project?
Yes, please. Thank you, Sharon.
We can hear you. Please go.
Excellent. So I'm working with the neighbor directly to the west. We have had discussions with the architect, not with Tim, but with, is it Sergio, Tim? Yeah.
Yes, with Sergio.
So the main concern that the neighbor has, and I didn't put in opposition or support, it's just mainly a question. The previous owner of this property rented it out often, and there were lots of parties and lots of noise and lots of lights. And so while my client does not have an issue with the current owner and her likely use of that viewing deck, there are concerns about potential for noise and light and the potential for events and parties and stuff to happen up there. It's a pretty large area. It's about 540 square feet, that rooftop viewing deck. And I think if you go to the second floor plan, let's see, what sheet? Yeah, that sheet kind of shows it. It's a pretty big area. Sergio did confirm for me that there is no lighting proposed in that area. And so because of that, it generally won't be used at night. And so one of our thoughts was, could there be some language that area just isn't used at, after dark, since it's not going to have lighting anyway. And I think that would go a long way towards alleviating the concerns of the neighbor.
Kimberly, that's not within our purview. Could you address this as a planner, please?
It's also not within the zoning code purview. Any agreement would not be through the county. It would have to be a private agreement and not enforced or officiated by the county.
And if there is a problem, they should call the police?
Yes, if after certain hours, it would be a police matter. There is no noise ordinance for use of your property.
Right. No, I'm more concerned about the lighting, because there is no lighting proposed, that there actually be a condition that there be no lighting up there, since you're not reviewing any, just to help with future enforcement if needed.
I don't know how that works.
Well, if they're not proposing any and they add lighting, then they're in violation of not having a permit for lighting that they added, right?
That is correct. And it's a little awkward to condition something for no lighting. There's really no nexus under the ordinance that allows us to regulate that. So it'd simply be a matter of incompatibility or inconsistency with their approved plan.
I would note too, just for your purposes, on the west side there is a good sized roof that will screen a good part, and the distance is quite a ways away from that property edge. So
yeah, and that is super helpful, and that we did measure that out. It's about just about 4.5 foot. So that does help, but obviously if there's a party up there, the 4.5 feet isn't going to shield it.
Okay, thank you very much, Eva. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board, please?
No, John, I don't see any hands.
So I'm going to close. Thank you, Sharon. I'm going to close public comment. Comments from the board. Chip.
Yes, I definitely like this proposed project. There's nothing wrong with going smaller, and I thought it's beautifully done. And I have no issue with the second floor observation tower. And I think that I find that kind of ridiculous that the neighbor don't want any light up there. I think that's within the right of the project owner to use that room. It's right in the middle of the project. It's small. I have nothing to do anything. And if there's a noise issue, that's not something that this board had to deal with. So I think this is a great project, and we should come back for after the planning commission maybe come back on consent. Thank you.
Don? Don? Don Sharp?
Seems to, I think he's gone away.
Claire, Bill?
Yeah, I agree with Tip. I don't have any issue with it. I would just say, clarify a little more solidly your night sky compliant light fixture. Just maybe write that into that note because it doesn't look that way on your drawing. But the details and everything else looks good. I commend the owner for reducing the square footage on a property like this. It's nicely done, and I always like single story is much better aesthetically. So thank you.
Claire?
I agree. I think this is a really a lovely little, almost little house, not really, but yeah, I mean, it's really a lovely design. I commend you and the owner for coming back and having looked at what she had and making a much nicer house for herself and for everybody else. So I'm fine with this project.
Don, are you back?
No, I can't see him up on the screen.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and I concur. I don't have any comments. Kimberly, can you give us the approval path here? What are we supposed to do? What's the maximum we can do at this moment, please?
I think just you could do favorable comments for the zoning administrator, and then the project can return for preliminary final after the CDH has been
There
heard.
is no zoning administrator, right? It's planning commission, right?
Oh, I apologize. That's right. It's Montecito. It's planning commission.
We love the planning commission. Okay, so the board is generally in favor of this project, commends the applicant for the bold statement of reducing the square footage. We believe the architectural design is very well articulated, and we have no problems with it from an architectural point of view. Eva, you will receive, I believe, a notice for that hearing. And if you want to raise your objections at that point, of course, you have the right to do that as a citizen. So is there anything else? Okay, back to item number 5. Greg, are you with us?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Greg, are you with us?
Greg, you know what? Greg is here. He's just he's signed up on the other side and I can't move him over.
Can you send him a new invite?
Hold on. Let me see if wait. Okay. So Greg, can you please unmute yourself so you can communicate? I have sent him an invite.
I see him on there too.
Greg, unmute yourself, please. Or there's 2 Gregs, whoever is representing.
There we
Greg.
go. Go ahead. Now talk.
I think I'm unmuted.
There you go. Thank you, Greg. Okay, we're up to you. We had a site visit.
Yep.
Go to the other side.
What was that comment? I missed it.
We had a site visit today. Greg, you're up. So we did have a memo. Can we look at it quickly, please? I think it's okay.
Minutes first or memo? We already read
memo.
Yeah.
Okay, minutes. One member believes
we read these, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Bill, did you have an opportunity to go by this one?
I tried, but because of the construction on
Okay.
the freeway, couldn't get around the way I wanted to see it. So no, I did not see it in person.
Greg, please go ahead and make your presentation.
Okay. The picture that you see in the upper left, it says scope of work. That's the neighbor's sound wall. And we're trying to replicate that on our property. And that's delineated on the site map with the 2 white lines. It's attached note sound wall. And detail 1 is a picture, again, looking back at the neighbor's wall. And we're trying to, again, as I said, match that across the back of this property and the back along the east side. So let's see what else. It's a 12-foot high wall. It's all wood. And, you know, in time, it will match the neighbor's wall. It's pressure treated wood. Acoustically, it's been shown to be a good way to go. It worked for the neighbor, and they did a full-on acoustical report, engineering. I had a chance to review that at the county. I have information if you're interested.
Did you have a chance to determine whether or not Caltrans will be building a sound wall on the south side of the new freeway, please?
No, I didn't get a call back from them. So I don't know.
My turn, I can answer that question.
Okay, let's let Greg finish.
So what I saw was that the sound wall was not being allowed on farther to the east on the freeway. So or I don't know.
Okay, very good. That's fine.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else that you would like to present to us?
We did have an arborist look at that one oak tree on the east side. You saw it today. It has two branches. There you go. It has 2 branches off of it. It's kind of it's not a nice specimen. It's over to the right on the east side, where the arborist has identified 8.5 by 6 and 6.5. So they're small limbs that just come out of the ground, and they go over towards the right to the east side. And they, one of those, I think, would have to be removed to accommodate the sound wall.
Is that it?
I'm sure if you have any questions.
And we will ask them. Claire, questions, please.
Well, question, have you done what your neighbor did? Have you done a sound study? Have you had somebody come out and, I mean, it was in the minutes.
No, he did not.
Okay.
The neighbor did it. I reviewed it and got a lot of information from that. We found that this sound wall.
So you've not done a sound study for your piece of property?
That's correct.
Your wall and your wall, which I don't think is really a wall. I think it's a fence. Okay.
Yeah, I have a information from the neighbor's study.
Now, what you've created, your structure is it's a fence literally that has 2 sides to it. What makes it a sound wall?
The amount of acoustic reduction in decibels from the test that was done by the sound wall on the neighbor's side.
So
the noise from the freeway predominantly.
So in between the 2 sides where you've got the 4x4s or the 2x6, 4x4, whatever, or 2x6s, there's 2 sides to it. There's nothing put in between the 2 sides.
That's right. That's a void. That's an airspace. That's airspace.
Okay. I think that's my questions.
Bill?
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't make it out there to the site, Greg, today. Question for you. I don't know what's happening on this neighbor over here. Is there an impact to them with this wall going up? And before you answer that, second question, is there an opportunity, instead of turning it this direction and going up this east property, if you worked with the neighbor to continue that lengthwise across there, to not only provide additional blockage for your client, but also the neighbor, and you would, essentially taking this wall and lengthening it out that way instead of pulling it this way, and keeping this 12-foot, just a standard fence if you wanted for screening, and then nobody's looking at a 12-foot wall right up close to them. I don't know what's happening here in their yard, so.
Yeah, that is a big yard space, just like what we have on our side. The house is farther to the south. So that, yeah, it's a big open area, and I think that's a great idea. If the I don't know if this owner has talked to that neighbor on that side about another wall going that way. I know she wants to get something up soon because of the we'll have construction going on for 2 or 3 years, and it's noisy there on the new freeway widening. And then once the freeway widening is completed, the construction is completed, the freeway will probably get even noisier than it is now with the higher volume. This is all a concern, but that's a thought. I mean, talking to the neighbor about maybe going along their backside there and getting the same benefit.
Right. Last question, Greg, too, is in the area there on the property line. I don't know how critical this is, maybe nitpicky at this point, but when footings encroach over neighbor property, is that an issue? Are you going to have to do some kind of zero lot line caisson sonotube thing there, or will the building department be okay with that? I guess is the question. Just more of a heads up.
Yeah, I think the building department would probably be okay if the neighbor's okay with it. And as you can see by that dashed circle, that represents, right, the concrete drilled pier that the support posts are buried inside of.
Right.
The wood structure and everything above ground will be on our property. Right. But like you said, in order to center that post in the concrete footing, there would be a little bit of that that would go over. So we'd have to make the neighbor aware of that. And of course, these drawings will go to the county for review, building department and planning department, all that. But I don't think it'd be too much of a problem.
Where they're gonna go.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That was all. Thank you.
Chip.
Thanks, Bill.
Chip.
He's muted.
Chip.
You're muted.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm back.
Questions?
No, I have no questions. Thank you.
Don Sharp, are you back with us? And I have no questions. Public comment. Is there anybody attending the Zoom conference that would like to address the board on item number 5, 1136 Hill Road, please?
No, John.
Okay. Comments, Claire.
Well, first of all, I'll address the question that I proposed in that, is there are, at this time, there are no sound walls proposed across the freeway from this project, okay?
Do you know that?
Well, I actually called Caltrans, and that's what they told me.
Excellent. So you do know it. Thank you.
But there's another little part of it that there was Kristen Ayers that I talked to, and she let me know that that this particular project owner, should really contact flood control because they were told early on that anything along the corridor that would be a sound, and this is why they took their sound wall off the project, is that even private properties along this should contact flood control for approval. So I'm just letting Craig know that he should go bring these things to flood control and have flood control, because flood control is not allowing walls or fences along this corridor, okay? And it's a flooding problem.
It's, thank you, Claire. I think it's kind of my understanding that flood control, after this once they submit to the county, I think flood control does get a look at it, along with the building department and other entities. I'm pretty sure flood control will have an opportunity.
Specifically, that's why Caltrans is taking all their sound walls away, because flood control doesn't want. What I was told by Caltrans is that flood control is not approving walls and fences in the same way that they did not approve the sound walls. And so the recommendation by Kristen Ayers was that you should take it sooner than later, flood control, because they're not approving, big long walls or big long fences.
And I'm not sure if
Greg, it is time for us to comment.
Yeah, okay, that's all. I just wanted to fill that in because we talked about it on site.
Thank you. Anything else?
Yes, well, I'm not going to vote for this project. I think that for one thing, having this leg that goes between the two property owners, if I was the property owner next door having a 12-foot wall or fence, I would be really upset. So, that I just don't think the next door neighbor should have to deal with a 12-foot fence. And I could be convinced that 12 feet across the railroad tracks or the freeway or whatever could be okay, but I think the whole thing should be 8 feet. That's that's it.
Okay, Bill.
Yeah, based on Claire's comments too. I would look at, again, not having seen the site, I can't speak to that east property edge, but that would be my only concern, is just how that impacts the neighbor on that side. And like I said, maybe the alternative to that would be to, turn it and run it straight across their back property, and boy, they get a little benefit out of it too. And I would imagine it would go a long way to, and maybe be even more effective potentially at cutting down the sound to your client. So
yeah, I think that's such a good idea that you came up with, Bill, by the way.
Maybe that's the way to
I really do think that,
Okay, let's try to stay sharp here. Tim, Bill, are you finished?
Other than that, I'm fine with the design and the look and the aesthetic and all the rest of it. So anyway.
Tip? please?
Yes, I used to, years ago, I used to have a house 3 doors from that property. And I remember vividly, the freeway noise was killing me, literally. Same with the train track. I was always hoping that I could put up a little tall wall. So I definitely have no problem. I think that it's really helped the property. It cannot be seen from anywhere. It's just the noise, the pollution from the train. So I think that's and the side is sloping to the back a little bit. So 12 feet, I don't have a problem. When it returning to the neighbors, maybe we should drop down to 8 feet, something like that. So it will be a little better, so you don't completely block out the neighbors. But the back, I'm definitely don't have any issue with that.
Don, are you back with us? Okay, my comment is, don't spend your money, go to flood control. If they're gonna give it the big nicks and you spent your money, you don't get your money back at the planning department. So please go to flood control first, find out what their requirements are. It seems to me that if you had a fence that started at about 3 feet above ground or 2 feet above ground and went up to 12 feet for the sound, you would get the same sound blockage from the freeway or almost the same and not have Caltrans get in your way. They may not permit that, but please go and check that first. I think you should also check the neighbor to the east if they would like to participate in this as well. I always felt that this might become a precedent. So I thought Bill's idea was excellent, to tell you the truth. And so I am not ready to move this on to the Planning Commission until you find out whether or not you're permitted to build this and have some kind of letter or stamp or something from the flood control. And also at least having made those inquiries to the neighbors to the east. Do other people agree with that comment as a summation?
Yes.
Yes, and then, and also please meet with the neighbor and see if the neighbor really is happy with this 12-foot leg of the, and then whether they would engage in, as Bill, moving this one leg over to their property, because then it makes it very consistent along that whole from neighbor to neighbor to neighbor. Everybody benefits that way.
Don Sharp, you're back with us. Did you want to comment on item number 5, the Clark Wall?
Well, my computer didn't do very well there. I missed all the presentation and so forth. So I will refrain from doing any commenting.
Okay. The other way you could approach that is to just make something up. But we
Probably.
won't do that. Yeah, Greg, thank you very much. I think you have some work to do. And we'll see you as soon as you chat with your neighbor to the east and chat
John, I think the neighbor to the east is on board with us already.
Whether or not they want to participate with a wall along their rear property line.
Got it.
Okay, which I think will actually benefit your property more than this. And then also please chat with the flood control. They may nix the whole thing. They are not particularly nice because of the floods through this area. Okay?
Okay, thanks.
We'll see you soon. Okay, so item number 7, 570 Meadowwood Lane. Is there somebody here for that? David, you are muted. Very good. So now you're not.
Yep.
There is a memo. Do we have that memo, please?
Yeah.
There's also, do you want to read the minutes?
Yes, I do want to read those. I have a note to myself, read both the memo and the minutes. So minutes. Restudy site design, consider integrating structure more fully with the site, address site access and provide covered parking, coordinate with fire department, provide arborist report, Consider alternate massing strategies. And then is there a memo? Okay. Oh, planner comments. The site was previously developed with a single family residence, guest house, and pool prior to the storm event and debris flow.
That pertains to 590, not 570. We're on 570 now.
Okay.
Excuse me for
that's fine. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. But before you spend more time on this, Chairman, some new information was shared with us about 2 hours ago that pertaining to 590 and which we've just gotten. And in light of that, I'd like to request a continuation for both 570, which is the current item that we're on, which is number 7, as well as number 8, which pertains to number 590.
Thank you. We are on for concept, so there is no motion associated with your projects. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing. We will see you when you come back.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. So this was a project that had 2 parcels adjacent to it, for those of you that did not get a chance to review the stuff. So we are now on item 9, the last project, which is 491 Pimiento Lane. We've seen this several times, and I guess they are on for both preliminary and final. I guess for some reason, I'm not quite sure why that happened. I think they got agendized incorrectly, but I can't remember for sure. Paul, Ashley, are you here, please?
There's the minutes.
Go ahead and read the minutes also.
Okay, nice project, responding well to prior comments. Bill Wolf, excellent work today. MBR appreciates applicant addressing parking issues with neighbors. One member believes hardscape is excessive. Exterior lighting should be minimal. Confirm lot size with county. And we are on for both preliminary and final today.
Paul, can you unmute yourself, please?
And this will be our last item also, everybody. Paul, are you there, please?
Paul or Zoran, can you unmute yourself, please?
Okay, this is Guillermo.
Oh, hi.
The landscape architect.
Guillermo, hi. What a surprise. You sound just like Paul.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, so what are we up to here, Guillermo?
Well, nothing changed on the landscape except we adding the lighting and we adding notes describing the square footage.
Okay.
So John, I think maybe some coaching might be needed, that this is here for final.
And preliminary.
Well, I know, but you know, that they need to do a full we need to go through the
Okay.
I mean, we're hoping to get final. I mean, we have gone for concept and done
we got
a complete final plan.
Zoran, are you going to be making the presentation, or Paul, please?
I can make the presentation. I wasn't aware that I was being asked to, because my plans are exactly the same as they were the last time we were in front of this committee. But
Paul, are you with us?
You know what you need.
Paul?
Yeah.
Paul?
Yes. Hello?
Can you go over the plans briefly but completely, so that, since this is the big approval today?
Okay.
That's what preliminary is.
Panicking. Okay. We're doing 3 small additions to the existing building and some interior remodel, bathrooms and kitchens mostly. This is the demo plan, the demolition, and this is the proposed plan. The dark lines indicate the new areas. There's the bathrooms in the upper left, and then the kitchen in the lower right, and there's 3 additions. This was an analysis of the square footage of the net as well as the remodeled area. This is the existing roof plan, not much to see. And there are 2 small areas of new roof being added for 2 of the new additions. The third addition is under the existing roof in the living room. Okay. Elevations, top is demo, bottom is proposed. All the aluminum frame windows and doors are being removed, and we're installing wood framed French doors and casement windows throughout. So you can see that line of the French doors on the bottom, a few casement windows above, etc. And then these elevations just go counterclockwise around the building. That's the courtyard. There's the north side and the west side, and the back side.
That's really screwed me up with this now.
Once again, you see casement windows.
No, not you. I was supposed to be there, but.
Guillermo, turn your mic off.
Guillermo, mute. This is the southwest and the south elevations. Once again, the French doors in the living room on the lower left. And on the lower right, that's the new small addition to the kitchen area. Okay?
Perfect. Yep.
New doors and windows shown there, all French doors and casements. And these building sections, 3 of them, are taken through the 3 portions of the building where we have building additions going on. This is our design sheet. There's a photo of the actual French doors and a photo of one of the casement windows. The color of the trowel coat stucco on the left, and then it's a grayish green color. It doesn't represent accurately there. We've got false wood beams above all the French doors on the exterior. We're emulating the existing clay tile roof. And then there's an image of the exterior sconce on the upper right. This is an electrical plan, and all you're concerned about is where the sconces are shown on the exterior. And there are about 20 of them around the entire perimeter. It's quite a lot of exterior doors. Yep. And then we're into Guillermo's landscape. Guillermo, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. So as I was saying earlier, we presented the same plan last time. So we make some changes, and one of the comments we had was about not having enough landscape and having too much hardscape. So I just wanted to, I make some changes to really illustrate what that amount of landscape we have. And I put some numbers so you can tell that we actually increased the amount of landscape on the current project. We also wanted to point out that the courtyard is all gravel and it's over a permeable base. So it's not a hardscape surface. We also adding lighting, which we didn't have on the previous version. And as you can see, the lighting is only path light, and it's a low voltage 27K LED light. And those are the main changes from last time. I would also like to point that we remove a lot of hardscape in the back of the project, where we added a new turf area. And here's a sample of the lights, just simple LED lights. And the irrigation haven't changed. It's the same irrigation plan we had last time, since we haven't increased any landscape areas. We're just showing you more clearly what is landscape and what is hardscape. And with that, I'd like to conclude my presentation.
Excellent. Are you guys done collectively, please?
Yeah, I mean, we're available for questions. But
questions, Tip, please.
What did the landscape?
No questions.
Don, Sharp.
No questions.
Claire.
No questions.
Bill.
Do you have any details? I don't see those. Is that another sheet I didn't get maybe, or?
Details, architectural details?
Yeah.
I don't show architectural details. This is mostly a new skin on an existing building. So it's really just new doors and windows on the outside. Did you want to take a quick glance at the photos?
Well,
Bill, during comments, you can make the comments.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then last thing, never mind. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, so last time there seemed to be a conflict between what the county said on your area and what you said. Mm-hmm. Did you have a chance to review that, please?
Well, I had a sheet in there which you skimmed over, which was the square footage analysis. That's A1.1R right in the middle on the top.
Did you resolve that or not, please?
Well, in my mind, I'm showing the dashed lines, which were my area calculations for the existing net.
No, lot area, please.
Oh,
0.6 versus 0.68, if my memory serves me right.
0.67, and that came off of my CAD, which came from the surveyor.
So you have not resolved that.
Well, when you
I'm asking a question, Paul.
I don't understand the question that it's resolved or not resolved. Okay, let me back up.
understand what you're asking for from the get-go, John.
Okay, I'm
Okay.
good. He did, okay, I understand what's going on. Okay, so, is that okay, Claire?
Yeah, that's fine. It's fine. I just, you know,
Okay, so is there anybody in the audience that would like to address item number 9, address this board on item number 9, 491 Pimiento Lane, please?
Let me, I have another phone call in, John.
Okay.
So, whoever's on the phone, can you please unmute yourself by hitting *6 if you want to comment on this project?
Got 10 minutes.
But you need to hit *6 to unmute yourself on the phone if you want to comment on this project. 491 Pimiento Lane. Or maybe you're just listening. I don't.
This is our last item, so please make the old try to get on if you want, because we're going to adjourn after this item. *6.
Oh, don't see any movement, John.
Okay, very good. So I'm closed public comment unless there's somebody that was trying to get on. So we are on for preliminary and final comments. Tip.
Well, I think it's fine. I don't, the changes are acceptable to me, and I don't see any issue with the project, so I think we should move this along. Thank you.
John.
I agree with that. Move it along.
Claire.
do we have everything that we require for final approval?
Well, Bill's going to chat about the details, I think. Do we have everything for you as our landscape representative? Claire.
Well, yes, can you scroll down to the, or I didn't look at the Wheelo calcs, and are they there?
Yeah.
Yeah, there they are. Yeah, I remember you seeing them. I do one question about the lighting. All of the lighting, for the most part, is path lighting. Is that correct?
Yes, it's all path lighting. All the landscape lighting is that.
All the landscape lighting is just these little path light. Okay, fine.
Yeah, on that plan there.
Inside the courtyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the lights are inside the courtyard except a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Bill, what's your comment, please,
Yes,
about the details?
Architecture is good, everything's good, except we're missing details. We need to have the parapet flat roof. That's new where you're replacing it. I know you're matching, but we need to see how you're doing it. You need to show us this header detail and all your head jam and sill details for the windows and doors. And your if this has got any new, are you replacing the roof with a two-piece mission? Then
No. All the existing mission roofs will stay.
That's all existing. So this detail, that detail, head jam and sill, and then you're good.
And I concur. We asked these finished details of every applicant. We are certainly not singling you out. And so I would like to make a motion for both preliminary and final with the applicant to return on consent with the architectural finish details.
Can I ask you
Let's see if there's a second for that. Anybody?
I'll second that.
Okay, Paul, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask a question for clarification on my point of view as the architect. You are looking for primarily what I would call profile details. Is that correct? For the look of what all these sections are.
No, the actual details you're going to need for submittal to the building department as well. They're going to want to know.
The building department has already cleared this entire package. We're ready to get our permit, but I can draw whatever details you're asking me for. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be not just the aesthetic, but the functional part of it.
Okay.
So you need to know that what you've drawn will actually work.
Okay.
This is Zoran. Can I make a comment?
Yes, please.
So we did simultaneous application to the building department as we did with MBAR,
Okay.
and they have approved all the details and all the construction, all the structural on this project. So is there any way to go to not have to wait another month to get this project?
No, consent, 2 weeks.
Okay.
The hearing, they're proposing that will be heard in 2 weeks, which means for consent, my deadline is 1 week.
Got it. Okay. So are you clear, Paul, what they're asking for? Because
Yeah.
Okay.
And we ask for this from everybody.
Everybody.
Okay.
Okay? We're not singling you out by any means.
I understand that. I don't feel that way. That's fine.
Okay. All right.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any further discussion, please?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion
Thank you.
carries. Thank you. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank
Is
you.
there a motion for adjournment, please?
So move.
Is there a second?
I'll
Don,
second
I love
that.
you, man. Is there-
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? See you guys in a couple weeks, including you, Zoran, and Paul, and all that.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you, everybody.
Good job,
Thanks.
John.